The universe expands, yet the truth remains, still within.
What remains when there is nothing to experience? There is something you rarely notice, not because it is hidden, but because it is always there. It does not come and go like thoughts. It does not change like emotions. It does not appear and disappear like everything else you experience. And because it is constant, it becomes invisible, familiar, almost forgotten. Right now, as you are watching this, there are things happening in your awareness. You are seeing images. You are hearing sound. Thoughts may be forming in the background. Reactions, interpretations, small movements of the mind. And all of that feels like your experience. It feels like that is what you are. But what if that is not the full picture? Because everything you are experiencing right now can be observed. You can notice the image. You can notice the sound. You can notice the thoughts, which means none of those things are you. They are objects appearing in awareness. And this leads to a question that is simple at first, but becomes deeper the more you look at it. What happens when there is nothing left to observe? Not no world, not no existence, but no object, no thought, no image, no sound. What remains then? Because if everything you usually identify with is removed, even for a moment, something strange begins to happen. The structure of identity starts to weaken. The constant sense of I becomes less solid. The inner voice slows down. The narrative fades. And what is left is not empty in the way we usually think of emptiness. It is something else. Something difficult to describe. Not a thought, not a feeling, but still present. And this is where many philosophical and contemplative traditions begin to converge. The idea that awareness does not depend on what appears within it, that it does not need objects to exist, that even in the absence of content, awareness remains, not as something you see, but as something you are. This challenges the way we usually understand consciousness, because we tend to think of awareness as something that happens when there is something to perceive. We believe that without objects, there is nothing, no experience, no awareness, just absence. But what if that is not true? What if awareness does not come from objects, but objects come from awareness? Because everything you know, everything you have ever experienced, has appeared within awareness. Every thought, every sensation, every memory, every perception. And yet, awareness itself does not appear in the same way. You don't see awareness. You are aware. And that difference is subtle, but profound. Because if awareness does not depend on what appears within it, then it may not begin or end with those appearances. It may not be created by them. It may not disappear when they are gone. It simply remains. But here is where it becomes even more interesting. If awareness can exist without objects, then why does it appear with them? Why is there experience at all? Why thoughts? Why perception? Why identity? Because if awareness alone is already present, then everything else may be something added, something layered, something that allows experience to take form. In that sense, what you call yourself may not be the foundation. It may be the expression, a temporary structure through which awareness interacts with itself, a way for something without form to experience form, a way for something without boundaries to experience limitation. And if that is true, then what you are is not just the experience, but what remains when there is nothing left to experience. So the question is no longer, what am I experiencing? But something deeper. What remains when everything else is gone? If this made you think, take a moment to like the video and tell me in the comments, what do you think remains when there is nothing to observe?